Hello everyone, welcome to Ashley and Lancelot show. Today is going to be the story for the Pathfinder tabletop live game on Thursday night. It'll be at 6:30 Pacific Standard and 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. I'm going to have 4 total players. Ashley, a new player is be Buck, is going to be here with us in the evening. 2 people will be on Skype, Dragon and Seth. Yeah, I know that Dragon's going to be a war priest. Ashley's gonna be a witch. We don't know what Buck's gonna be yet, but you probably meet the character before the game start. Seth is still figuring out what race he wants to be. I think he's gonna be some kind of spellcaster. Do not know for sure. So this is a setting for the story of it. I'll have to repeat the story for everyone else for Thursday's tabletop. Basically, this is a story I've been working on since I got out of high school and during college. Yeah, I do D&D back and forth at friends' house and other people's house. And I will do my own DM as well. I rented a room in an apartment all the way through. I was in the Air Force Base. Never really finished the entire campaign of mine because everyone around that time were figuring out what to do with their lives. Going to college, military, being shipped off, stuff like that. So basically, we are going to be starting level 1. There's extension of lots of race on Pathfinder and classes as well. I'm going to go over some of those a couple times a week. But anyhow, basically this story is, this campaign is going to be set around giants. As you can know, that I like giants more than dragons. But so yeah. So basically, during the war of this vast continent, there was a war for eons, thousands and thousands of years. There was a war between the dragon and the giants. Throughout the war, dragon tribe had dominance over all the lesser race, and the giants also think big of themselves as well. Were also fighting amongst each other: the hill giant, the storm giant, the cloud giant, the fire giant, the eternal giant, so forth as well. They fight amongst each other until something happened between the dragons and the giants. Basically, when the dragons start to go over to the territories that these giants have for a long period of time, try to make giants be under their servitude, have giants as their slave, so they can also use them to take over the whole continent. The dragons were also fighting amongst themselves as well. The metallic dragons are pretty much lesser and few, because the chromatic dragons actually reign supreme at the time. The different regular primary color dragons are evil. In fact, the chromatic dragons are pretty much good. Basically, the dragon literally wipe majority of the competitions out that will stand in their way to have equal footing between let the elves be, let the dwarves be, let everyone be. But the evil dragon wants more than that. So they decimated the metallic dragons, and while that was happening, they see these giants. Some of them are very advanced. Some of them are very well on weapons, very well in other aspects as well. They could be blunt warriors, tank, so forth as well. So the giants were fighting amongst each other. They were actually fighting for resources. Resources were scarce back then because certain ores in a certain area, certain food would go across their territories, so forth as well. Until the dragon came by and started to wipe out the majority of that giant population, started to enslaving them. But until the eternal and the cloud giants are the more intelligent type of giants, they started to have a tactical plan, ceasefire amongst all the giants, and then Hell had a truce, had one common enemy: the dragons. Because dragons has all the resources that they can get their hands on. They're plunder, they're greedy, they have all the gold, all the gemstones they could think of, magical items. You know, the dragon magic is one of the most sought off and ancient power that everyone wants to master. as a very difficult and close-hearted secret. Because dragons live way longer. I'm sorry, the dragons live way longer than the giants. And the dragons usually do not write these ancient powers in scrolls, tablets, statues, and other literatures. They usually go by the word of mouth. So when the giants all formed together, and they also formed all the lesser races, as the dwarves, lizard folks, elves, halfling, gnomes, humans, and orc, so forth as well. And throughout this 50-year war between when they were united, they literally decimated majority of the primary dragons as they know of. They wiped out a huge chunk of them, killed the dragons, used their bones, teeth, skin, and meat and blood for more powerful dragon item resistance towards that type of elements as well. And dragon bones are very strong and sturdy, and you can do so much with it. And then after the 50 years, there were no more dragons in sight in this continent as they know of. So they had a huge pile of a dragon graveyard, usually throwing all the dead carcasses and going back and forth, and started to make more and more of these different types of dragon armor crafts and dragon magic casts that they can get the materials from. Took all their hoards, took all the diamonds, everything else, and these giants talked amongst themselves as that we have these sort of dragons. We are top of the world, and they had the greed. Usually, the dragon greed is when you have this greed, you want more of it, more power, more control, more of everything. So these giants made a console of themselves as they're higher than everyone else, because there was no more dragons around to literally, to fight against, to kind of be their equal. So they made a console, and they fight, and they basically imbue majority of the dragons' blood and bones and make a craft. This giant mountain that sits in the middle of the continent had several split into 5 different reigns of elements. You have the one with water, one with fire, one with one with darkness, light, all that stuff. It's that section of the mountain that has that more infinity of flame, more infinity of water, more infinity of wind, of that type. And they built a whole citadel around it, around this mountain. They have several different type of lesser creatures living in that area, majority enslaved by the giant itself. Slaves are there. It's very multicultural. The majority of them are treated like crap unless you have the gold to actually live a noble life. Majority of the higher you're up the mountain, the more successful, rich, noble, more important you are. Lower down the mountains, all the scraps, savages, homeless, and the gladiator fights. Majority of the stuff that's happened is the peasant that does all the work and put all the materials going up in levels. Usually the blacksmithing, the magic crafter, the enchanters are more sought out towards between the lower and the top level of the mountain. That's basically what this place, the character's going to be at. Neat. It's very multicultural. You drow, people are still gonna think you're a little sneaky little evil sucker, and you might get killed. Or you can be, the lawful good paladin and be in the bad area and get yourself ripped off and killed. Religion was not really enforced in this region. Usually people with religion or talk to the god or a higher plane, they've been beaten up and thought that they're mostly snobs. Snob that they know everything in this world, that they can reach people's life. And that is, religion is very scarce. There's a lot of cults, underground meetings area for meeting their gods. Certain gods the giants did not like about them, and they basically banished them. Usually, usually the 5 of the giant councils that meet up a certain amount of time, write these laws. Majority of them for personal gain. Some have a good heart. There are several generations of giants that take over their predecessor's place, and right now the giants are losing a lot of resources now. It's been thousands and thousands of years, and the giants are taking majority of resources around the continent, and it's being very scarce. And this time there are more famine, death that's happening, and slowly, surely, there are certain signs of a return of the winged dragon flying by. And I confirm if it was actually true, because we all thought that it was slowly disappeared. Then until one day, that one night, a flying shooting star came down over the mountain and landed in where a dragon bone pit was at. That is where the adventure starts. This is how we're going to meet up by the tavern, depending on what kind of characters you have and what their backstory is. This is pretty much a story of what we have right now on the Pathfinder for a tabletop. Hopefully this is enough good information. Hope you guys come in on Thursday night and watch us play. So we will love to have you and read your comments as well. Hope you guys enjoy this. Please subscribe if you guys haven't. Notification bell for more videos. And I'll talk to you later, and have a great day, guys.